Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating International Students' Day, which is commemorated on 17th November. Apart from that, we have various other commemorations also. Like today is World Prematurity Day and also World Vasectomy Day, and many more. So we'll look at International Students' Day, which is commemorated on November 17th. It's a day when we remember the bravery of thousands of students in Prague who fought for national pride and the right to higher education. In 1939, Nazi forces arrested and executed 9 protesters without trial and sent over 1,200 students to concentration camps. Many did not survive. International Students' Day commemorates their sacrifices. And while we seem worlds apart today, the right to education and peaceful protest remains a struggle in many countries. On International Students' Day, let's strengthen the resolve to protect the rights of our youth and support them by directing them towards the right resources, such as various online and offline platforms and resources for acquiring education. For insights into International Students' Day, let's first trace the events leading up to it. When Adolf Hitler came to power in 1933, the Third Reich staked aggressive claims over territories outside Germany's borders. The Nazis first annexed Austria in 1938, Hitler home country. Next, they forced Czechoslovakia to give up parts of its territories. Germany occupied the CES regions, forcing Slovakia to split into a satellite state. In 1939, students of the medical facility at Charles University in Prague held a demonstration to commemorate the formation of an independent Czechoslovak Republic. The Nazis brutally expressed the gathering, resulting in a student, Jan Oplet's death. Thousands of students turned up at his funeral procession, the event that transformed into anti-Nazi demonstration. The Nazis responded by shutting down all Czech education institutions in a shocking display of brute power. They arrested over 1,200 students and sent them to concentration camps. But the worst was yet to come. On November 17th, the Nazis rounded up 9 protesters, executing them without trial. Historians believe that the Third Reich allowed the funeral procession because they anticipated a violent outcome. It would give the regime the validation they needed to close down all Czech universities, dealing a severe blow to rebellion from academics and student activists. November 17th is International Students' Day to remember the courage of students activists. During the 1939 Nazi storming of the University of Prague, the first observation took place in 1941 at the International Students' Council in London. It was there that students decided to introduce International Students' Day to be observed every November 17th. Since then, many organizations and international student groups have continued to observe the day. The day is also a public holiday in Czech Republic and Slovakia. It is formally called the Struggle for Freedom and Democracy Day. In Prague, the Nazi forces violently suppressed a student gathering to celebrate the anniversary of independent Czechoslovakia. in 1939, where student unrest reaching tipping points. The Nazis execute 9 protesters without a trial on November 17th, where in 1939, young minds and lives lost. So, led by several refugee students, the International Students' Council in London marks the first International Students' Day in 1941. On November 17th, the Greek military junta crashes Athens Polytechnic by storming the gates of the university in 1970. November 17th is International Students' Day. The day commemorates the courage of student protesters in Prague. On this day in 1939, Nazi forces executed 9 protesters, 8 students, and 1 professor without trial. They also arrested over 1,200 students and sent them to concentration camps. International students have a global outlook since they encounter multiple perspectives and therefore multiple possibilities. Studying in international universities helps students see the world and meet people with diverse interests. Today is also commemorated as National Naturopathy Day. Observed in India, the day commemorates and celebrates and seeks to promote the positive mental and physical health through naturopathy, a drugless system of medicine. So organize events at your university, institution, college, school, or even in offices, wherever you are, where you have students as stakeholders. So International Students' Day is a reminder not just about the power of youth, but also about the strength of diversity. Encourage your university to organize events that celebrate multiculturalism, bring different groups together for an engaging day of discussion, film, music, and art from around the world. Spread the word in your circles, share resources and information on social media. The more people you can reach, the better. Chat with someone new, walk over and introduce to an exchange student or a new student in the class, maybe invite them for dinner. There's nothing like a personal connection to break stereotypes and preconceived notions. Where no university flags has gone before, Charles Peach Conrad, a Princeton graduate, was the 3rd man to walk on the moon in 1969. He planted a Princeton flag on its surface with over 70% of female students in pure sciences and engineering. Iran has the highest female to male ratios in universities. Iranian women in science outnumber other countries. Yale's handsome Dan was the first mascot in the history of US universities. MIT students who complete sailing, pistol, fencing, and archery classes can officially receive a pirate's license. So MIT students can technically become pirates. The University of Chicago holds an annual day, 4-day scavenger hunt, complete with a 200-mile road trip, cryptograms, challenges, and a 3-course meal, the world's largest scavenger hunt. So never take things for granted. Today we are reminded about the privileges of education and the importance of dissent. It inspires us to keep asking the big questions no matter the consequences. So a celebration of youth students are tomorrow's leaders, thinkers, creators, and moral centers. Higher education helps everyone make a difference in their own lives. And the World International Students' Day celebrates young people and their rights to education. It's a day that commemorates students' activism. Throughout history, student-led activism has challenged the authority of fascists and despots. Student-led events at Beijing, Tiananmen Square, Prague's Velvet Revolution, or the protest at India's Jawaharlal Nehru University will forever inspire generations to come. But at the same time, we have to remember that many times students are getting carried away and are carried away by the political agendas. And still, we can see in the reality, students are struggling for getting students' amenities or improving and asking for amenities, but they are working for so many agitations and, a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, it's gaining political mileage for the political parties and various other measures. But students have to fight for themselves, for their own rights and for their own amenities, especially but that is what lacking. So students have to realize that no one will come to save us. In fact not just for students, every one of us, we need to save ourselves. No one is going to come to save us. So we have to put all our efforts so that we can move ahead. Today is also commemorated as World Prematurity Day. On November 17th, we take a moment to show compassion and support for families who are experiencing the anxiety of premature births by observing World Prematurity Day. Created by the March of Dimes, we love our babies from the moment they are born. World Prematurity Day reminds us of babies born too early and the health challenges they can face as they grow up. These little ones needs loads of love and support, and World Premature Day is a chance to show it. World Prematurity Day was created on November 17, 2011 to raise awareness for the millions of children every year who are born prematurely. While technologies and medical procedures in America has increased over the years, preterm babies still carry a huge vulnerability to develop cerebral palsy, delays in development, hearing problems, and sight problems. Additionally, while neonatal death in the United States is low in comparison to most of the world, premature births account for a quarter of all neonatal deaths. The World Premature Day was created on November 17, 2011 to raise awareness for the millions of children every year who are born premature. While technologies and medical procedures in America have increased over the years, preterm babies still carry a huge vulnerability to develop cerebral palsy, delays in development, hearing problems, and sight problems additionally. While neonatal death in the United States is low in comparison to most of the world, premature births account for a quarter of all neonatal deaths. That's part of many reasons why World Prematurity Day was created, and to shine a light on the risks and hardships created by the premature births, cost-effective and proven solutions, and spreading compassion for families who have experienced premature births And that being said, many premature babies grow up to a completely healthy individuals, with some becoming notable public figures such as Winston, Churchill, and Albert Einstein. Strong Start promoted healthy babies in 2012. A Strong Start, a collaboration with the US Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, and a national group of obstetricians and gynecologists supported by the March of Dimes campaign, urging to the public to avoid scheduling a medically unnecessary delivery prior to 39 weeks of pregnancy. So Strong Start, a collaboration with the US Department of the Health and Human Services and a national group of obstetricians and gynecologists supported by March of Dimes campaign, urging the public to avoid scheduling a medically unnecessary delivery prior to 39 weeks of pregnancy in 2012. The PREME Act, launched by the March of Dimes, became law in 2006, requesting federal support for life-saving research and education about babies born too early. The March of Dimes created the PREME Act in 2008. Strides in technology improved prematurity in 1990s. The decade reflected many achievements in successfully treating in premature infants born as early as 23 weeks and weighing just over a pound. So the decade saw many family-centered changes in how to help premature babies, including parental rooming in policies in hospitals and older children allowing to help in infants' care in the 1980s. So a preemie is a baby. So no, a preemie cannot have a baby. But as an adult, sure, there is no reason why simply being a preemie would prevent you from conceiving. So to show support for World Prematurity Day, individuals wear purple ribbons. It's totally your color, by the way. And any birth that takes place 3 weeks or more before the baby's due date is a premature birth. So the March of Dimes month is held every November. So what we can do? We can create more awareness now that we are more active on social media. Many people have never seen a premature baby. So you can make a difference by posting pictures of preemies on social media like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. It may be unnerving to see such tiny human beings with tubes coming out of their mouths or in the incubators, NICUs, and so on. But it's an important way to put the problem of premature babies front and center. Your pick could just start a movement. Many organizations sponsor care packages for preemies These gifts contain tiny diapers, bottles, blankets, and in many cases, doll-sized clothes. Some hospitals also provide these packages without charge to families with babies weighing less than 3 pounds, or just go out and buy some things and share them with a new mother. So pull out the purple. Purple is the official color for National World Prematurity Day. Wear your purple ribbon, pin, or even get a purple ribbon tattoo. Light your home or office with a purple bulb. Whatever way you can show your support empowers the families who are struggling to keep a premature baby alive. It's a way to do your part to educate and sensitize the community to this unfortunate problem that they can affect any one of us. So it's why full-term pregnancies are important. Did you know that brain, lungs, and other organs don't develop until the last few weeks of pregnancy? Each year, 1 in 10 American births result in infant mortality. It's an uphill battle. So many famous historical figures were born prematurely, including physicist Albert Einstein, writer Mark Twain, political leader Winston Churchill, French author Victor Hugo, the Emperor Napoleon, and scientist Isaac Newton. So, one interesting thing happens to mothers who deliver premature babies. The milk mothers produce contain special properties, including extra minerals, fat, and proteins that these tiny infants need. Boys are more likely than girls to be born prematurely due to an outside risk of high blood pressure and placenta abnormalities in the mothers. So, genders play a role. Every year, the March of Dimes issues a report card that assesses the efforts to reduce premature births in the US. Unfortunately, our country is losing ground in the battle for healthy babies. In fact, our overall grade is a C, showing a widening gulf of differences in survival rates depending on racial background and socioeconomic conditions of the mothers. The best grades go to the states in the west and northwest, and falling grades go to states in the southwest and southeast. So there's more than one kind of premature birth. When we speak in general terms about premature babies, we tend to dismiss the variety of premature births that occur. A late preterm baby is born sometime between 34 and 37 weeks of a pregnancy. An actual preemie is a still developing infant born under 32 weeks of gestation. The tiniest of all babies is a micro preemie born at under 25 weeks into a pregnancy and weighing about a pound. So, according to the March of Dimes, the number one global cause of death in children under 5 years old is premature births. When infants are born prematurely, they can face health challenges affecting their brain, lungs, hearing, or vision. Risk factors include being African American, a teen mother, a woman over 35, and coming from a low income grade. World Prematurity Day raises our consciousness about infants so that we provide better research for healthier pregnancies and babies. Today is also commemorated as World Vasectomy Day. It falls on the third Friday of November every year. So this year it is observed on November 17th. The day advocates for vasectomy as a safe and sensible choice for male contraception and promotes the training of doctors who can conduct the procedure. Vasectomy is a permanent contraceptive procedure done on a male sexual organ to limit the transfer of sperm during intercourse. Vasectomy is safe, reversible, and highly effective in preventing unwanted pregnancies. Since its launch in 2012, World Vasectomy Day has partnered with more than 30 plus countries and is now the largest male focused family and sexual health movement in the world. World Vasectomy Day encourages men to consider the choice of vasectomy as contraception. It is a joint initiative of filmmaker and journalist Jonathan Stack and urologist Dr. Doug Stein, who view the project to popularize vasectomy as collective movement for social change. The day is part of the 7-day event observed in the third week of November. The project has been operating headquarters in Australia, Kenya, Indonesia, Mexico, Haiti, Rwanda, and Colombo. The founders consider vasectomy an act of love performed by an informed male to take control of their lineage into own hands. As per the science of ovulation, a female's anatomy allows her to conceive only 2 days in a month. That makes for 24 days in a year where a male can create a baby multiple times a day, every day of the month, throughout the year. So hence, the onus of avoiding unwanted pregnancy should be on men. Instead, it is the women who mostly shield the burden with daily birth control, diaphragms, IUDs, etc. So, World Vasectomy Day inspires men to be compassionate partners to their spouses. There's a lot of stigma regarding a vasectomy that continues to plague our society, including the fear of emasculation and decreased sexual performance. WVD conducts educational events and men's health fairs to maximize participation and healthy discussion of the topic. The movement partners with leading public health organizations and the government of specific countries to launch male specific family control initiatives. So, a vasectomy is performed on a dog for the first time, the first snip in 1823. Chicago surgeon A.J. Oshner performs the procedure on a man for the first time in the US in 1897. So the vasectomy procedure gains popularity with many influential men such as Sigmund Freud and the W.B. Yeats undergoing the surgery. So the public embrace in 1920. So the public embraces. So American journalist and filmmaker Jonathan Stack and urologist Dr. Doug Stein designate the third Friday of November as World Vasectomy Day in 2013. So vasectomies are the most effective form of male contraception with 99% efficiency. There is no right or wrong time to get a vasectomy, and 18% adult can choose to have a vasectomy at any time in their lives. The procedure can cause some pain or discomfort with some residue, swelling, and bruising, but it isn't ruled as terribly painful. The aftercare for the procedure includes icing, painkillers, and an entire day of rest. So, join the mission. The WBD network trains new doctors and medical professionals to perform vasectomies on men. To mark the day, you can spread the word and connect impressionable medical professionals in your network towards taking up training at one of the WBD centers. There's a lot of misinformation and obvious stigma attached to vasectomies. On World Vasectomy Day, arm yourself with important facts and statistics about the procedure so you can challenge the preconceived notions of people and change minds. Vasectomy is a conscious choice that can have a polite impact on the well being of the families and other people. So, mark the day by collaborating with local leaders, writers, media personalities, and journalists to inform the public about the procedure and its implications. So, it's quite popular in the US. More than 500,000 men get a vasectomy each year, and vasectomy limits the mixing of semen with other seminal fluids without impacting the release, which means men continue to orgasm after the procedure. So, no impact on the drive. Vasectomies do not affect a man's sexual drive or performance. So, reversal isn't popular. Although vasectomy is reversible for all patients, only 3 to 5% of men request an undo in their lifetime. Vasectomy does not shield you from sexually transmitted infections such as syphilis, herpes, etc. Since its launch in 2012, the sole mission of the World Vasectomy Day project is to propagate the merits of getting a vasectomy. The project aims to encourage men to consider the upside of the procedure, which is the complete avoidance of unwanted pregnancy until they decide otherwise. It's safe and reversible. WVD project is a year-round program that works with institutions to educate the public, train doctors, and create a vibrant community of people who share a passion for sexual liberty and progressive procedures. In almost all committed couples, it is the female partner who takes birth control every morning, placing a lot of responsibility on her. With WBD, people can learn about the option of a one-time surgery. It's minimally invasive. Vasectomy surgery takes about 10 to 30 minutes and has no post-op restrictions or complications. Additionally, the cost of vasectomy is far less than that of long-term birth control or female sterilization. It simply makes sense to treat vasectomy as a viable and financial sound option or contraception, which is what the day illuminates. Today, we are also commemorating National Unfriend Day in US. Now, we have seen Friendship Day. Now, we are also celebrating Unfriend Day. Thank you, Jimmy Kimmel, gentleman and scholar, for creating National Unfriend Day, because it is also important as we make friends to also make unfriends. So, join us on this day to self-care, to celebrate by simplifying our connections online and unfriending any and everyone who does not add joy to your online social networking experience. So on November 17, 2010, Jimmy Kimmel went on his nightly talk show to announce that it was National Unfriend Day. In this digital age, we have reached a threshold of social connections. Like, does your friend from elementary school who you haven't spoken to in 20 years really need to be Facebook friend? Do you really want to see Instagram posts of that guy you met in line for the bathroom at the party in college? How about even that center for your favorite basketball team that you follow on Twitter who retired 3 years ago? It is important to see how they are handling being retired at 35. So these questions and more have been building slowly over the past 20 or so years since social media was created, and we have been collecting friends online as if they were latest trend in fashion. But after the years of adding social networks and holding friends and follows, in 2010, we reached a cultural terminology velocity in how many connections we can sustain. Now it's time to cleanse. So self-publishing and social networking, Live Journal launches starting the trend of following and unfollowing friends online, along with emo ramblings and bad poetry about young love and teenage heartbreak. So MySpace is when social networks crawled out of primordial soup of Web 1.0 and became what it is today in 2003. So Facebook changes everything. In a dorm room in Harvard, Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook, changing everything about the way we communicate online in 2004. So Jack Dorsey created Twitter for users to post whatever they want in 140 characters or less. In 2006, news in warp speed. Instagram became a platform for users to follow each other and share pictures of what will eventually become their perfect lives. In 2010, Jimmy Kimmel declares National Unfriend Day on November 17, 2010. So use this day as an opportunity to unfriend someone who is no longer adding to your joy, or at least someone who is creating trouble for you online. So National Unfriend Day is a perfect opportunity to clean out your social networks and unfriend anyone who doesn't spark joy. So National Unfriend Day is every year on November 17th, as dictated by the Jimmy Kimmel. The one and only Jimmy Kimmel used his nightly talk show to decrease the arrival of National Unfriend Day. So what we can do and find out what matters. Here's an exercise for you. Review your friends one by one from your friend list and figure out who really matters to you. Do you really need to stay in touch with you or with your lab partner from 10th grade or inter or degree, whatever it may be? Or that is to some extent, it's fine because you have acquaintance and you have been there for some years. But online friends, those who haven't met, you haven't met them, and they are there in the friend list for months together, years together, without even a communication. Are they really worth to be in the friends list? And there is also one mania like thing, where you have so many friends added and you always your profile appears to be 5,000 friends. That is a maximum limit for Facebook, subject to the correction. That was a limit at one point of time. So it was always showing 5,000 friends. So means, oh, you are socially outgoing. And some people say, I don't have even space for adding more friends. But how many of them are really your friends? I mean, how many of them are communicating with you? And how many of them can really say that you are their friends and you can say that they are your friends? So try to clean up such list, unplug from your virtual world, and invite your friends over a cup of coffee or to watch a movie. Focus on the people that make you happy in person rather than those that only like your post online. These are your true friends, and these are relationships that will last longer over time. So, most of us blurred the line between personal and business connections by befriending people on Instagram and Facebook. If you are not comfortable with completely deleting your business connections, then simply re-establish friendship through a professional platform like LinkedIn. So move to LinkedIn if you want a more professional platform. So how many friends do you have or do you currently have? Make a fresh start. And do you keep in touch with all of them? Do you really need to stay in contact with them? Is it common for friend list to grow out of control? Trust us, we all do it. So if the answer to the last question is no, then take a few moments to start from the scratch by deleting anyone that you haven't talked to in the last year. So do you have friends that overshare or possibly air out their dirty laundry online? Think to yourself, do I really need to stay updated with his personal daily affairs? Or, I mean, with this person's, it may be he or she, daily affairs. Life will naturally hand you a variety of your own problems. So don't let anyone else's issues consume you. So hit delete and free yourself. No more drama. Emails, texts, news alerts, Facebook notifications, Twitter's mentions, Instagram likes. It's hard not to look at your phone without seeing a million little red numbers begging for your attention and competing with the actual world in front of you. By unfriending on your platforms, you can reduce the amount of time you need to spend checking apps and more time spent being in the moment and clearing your own head with what and who you can actually need to focus on. Today is also commemorated as National Homemade Bread Day in US. So the best thing about National Homemade Bread Day might be the way it incorporates all senses. The sweet, roasty comfort smell that lingers in the kitchen, the sight of steam rising from the top of the loaf, the warmth in your mouth, the taste of home when you take a bite, and the seemingly automatic that comes while you chew. Get baking. November 17th is to celebrate and break and bread with your friends and family. So the art of bread archaeologists found bas reliefs dating to at least far back of Egyptians harvesting grain likely to breed in 2650 BC. A volcano preserved Pompeii's ovens, Mount Vesuvius erupted, preserving both the Roman city of Pompeii, which had 33 bakeries, and its bakery of Modestus. The writings of Indo-Persian poet Amir Khusrau were recorded history first reference to bread. So bread made an appearance in 1300 AD. So Otto Frederick Rohwedder invented a machine to slice bread in 1928. Comedian Red Skelton apparently coined the phrase during a newspaper interview. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread in 1950. So pull out the favorite family recipe or find a new favorite in a cookbook or online, and while you are at it anyway, make more than one loaf. So pull out your favorite family recipe or find a new favorite in a cookbook or online, and while you are at it anyway, make more than one loaf. So get baking. Whether they act as a source chef or simply a happy taster, food is community. We are drawn to feed those we love, and National Homemade Bread is all about sharing the love. Invite a friend over. Once you Once your bread is has cooled, store a loaf or even a few slices in a freezer bag with all the air out. Freezing your bread will let you indulge in the fruits of your National Homemade Bread Day labor long past its typical expiration date. So use the freezer. So bread's aroma comes from its ingredients, the fermentation process and reactions during the baking process. It's not just the ingredients. Maltol, which has the scent of caramel and cotton candy, and isomaltol give bread crust its flavor and aroma. Certain compounds give breadcrumbs and strangely cucumbers their scent. 14 is a magic number. Scientists have used 14 molecules to mimic the smell of baguettes. By baking your own bread, you can make it as healthy or as descendant as you want. Opt for whole wheat, cracked wheat, sunflower seeds, and honey, or chocolate peanut butter, two different kinds of sugar, and heavily whipping cream. You can be diet conscious or not. So avoid all the additives. Make sure you can pronounce every ingredient you add. No azocarbonamide, which is also used in yoga mats in your kitchen, unless you like that sort of thing. It can be tough to find bread for those with celiac disease or other gluten intolerances. Thousands of do it yourself recipes are out there, though sure to make your belly and your wallet happy. Today is also commemorated as National Hiking Day, also known as Take a Hike Day. National Hiking Day on November 17th may be one of the most important holidays out there. For starters, there's more than 60,000 miles of trails across the nation. Not to mention, hiking is a great exercise, allowing you to burn over 550 calories per hour. Plus, being in the outdoors allows you to get away from your phone and appreciate nature's beauty and wonder. Hiking wasn't always the fashionable pastime it is today. Before Subarus, the jeeps and the protagonists built an industry around the activity. Walking of any kind was considered as an activity for the impoverished or vagrant, until the Romantic era of Victorian years inspired the likes of Walden and Thoreau to reconnect with nature, and that in turn inspired the landscape of architects is to design parks with excellent walking trails. Looking at your Frederick Law Olmsted of Central Park fame, walking then became something of the educated, the unhurried, the luxurious, until John Muir came along and walked his way through Sierra Nevadas in California and demanded that not only hiking, walking, mingering, sojourning, whatever you want to call it, be accessible to every American citizen, but that the country should actively preserve natural areas of pristine ecology and beauty. So in 1890, he petitioned for the creation of the national park system, and we are endowed with America's best idea, Yosemite and Secure National Park. But even before Muir on the East Coast, a small group of people had banded together in 1876 to form the Appalachian Mountain Club, which had a goal to protect and preserve all hiking trails along the historic mountain range, as well as develop new ones. So, whether you prefer to hit the jogging trails in Central Park or are prepping to backpack the entire Pacific Crest Trail. Every step on a trail is with a long line of explorers, trailblazers, and activists from before. So, on the first major manicured hiking trails is created to lead up uh, Mount Washington in New Hampshire in 1819. In 1838, Scottish American environmentalist John Muir is born, arguably the father of modern hiking and outdoormanship. The mountains start calling in 1838. A team of mountaineers reached Elbrus, the highest mountain in Europe, higher and higher in 1874. The US recognizes trails. The National Trail System is established in 1965. Dick Bass reaches Mount Everest. He becomes the first person to reach the highest mountain peaks on all 7 continents. That is 1985. So paying it forward, volunteers put in 2,41,936 hours maintaining the Appalachian Trail for future hikers to enjoy, paying it forward 2013 to 2014. So you can celebrate National Take a Hike Day by getting lost in a manner of speaking. Obviously, it's enjoy a nice stroll in the woods, but make sure you bring your compass and ample amounts of water. So National Take a Hike Day is about more hiking, about telling someone to go get away. So National Take a Hike Day is about more about hiking than about telling someone to go get away. So there's nothing like getting out in the great outdoors, grab some hiking boards, a sack lunch, a backpack, and some water and hit the trail. Once you start, you will wonder why you don't do this more fun. Proud of your accomplishment? Take photos and share your hiking experiences on social media. Add hashtags like National Trails Day and take a hike to inspire others to go out in great outdoors. So, hiking in exotic and diverse locations, all while giving back and building maintaining trails all around the world. What could be better? Check out the American Hiking Society's volunteer vacation for information on how you can make this dream a reality. So, if you hike the entire Appalachian Trail, you will be walking between 5 to 7 months, not just a walk in the park. And in 2008, proximity to trails was the most important amenity to prospective home buyers. This outranked things like access to shopping, golf courses, security, etc. Believe it or not, hiking makes food like freeze-dried foods or energy bars taste up to 35% better. It makes you appreciate your food. And don't get us wrong, it's a fantastic exercise. We love our gyms, but walking on treadmill is more akin to what hamsters experience inside their wheels. To get a better workout, hit the trail. The changes in elevation from flat to slide incline to steeper incline to downhill all help you use muscles that may not flex every day. Plus, on a leisurely hike, you don't feel pressurized to keep up with the Jonas in the gym. So hiking makes you happy. Endorphins and serotonin make people happy and you get plenty of them when you are hiking. These hormones help fight off anxiety, prevent loneliness and depression, and improve your mood. Plus, if you bring a friend along, you are sure to have a good time. Whether it's hiking the Appalachian Trail or simply walking a well worn path, nearly every person of every age can go hiking. Plus, since you get to choose the location, the path, and the often terrain, you get to decide how much you want to push yourself. So, today is also commemorated as 6th Naturopathy Day, November 18th and 19th, 2023, by Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy, New Delhi, and Pune, and University of Patanjali, Haridwar, is organizing the 6th Naturopathy Day at Auditorium University of Patanjali, Patanjali Yogpith, Haridwar, Uttarakhand, India. So now this is an event which is organized on commemorating, but apart from that, there are various events that are happening across India and the world. So Naturopathy Day is observed in India on November 18th every year to promote positive mental and physical health through a drugless system of medicine called naturopathy. The day was declared by Ministry of Ayush, Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy, Government of India on November 18, 2008. It was on this day in 1945 when the Mahatma Gandhi became lifetime chairman of the All India Nature Cure Foundation Trust and signed with the deed with the object of making benefits of nature cure available to all classes. So the event is celebrated by organizing naturopathy awareness camps, workshops, seminars, and conferences across the country. Several naturopathy hospitals, organizations, and BNY's degree colleges conduct a week-long awareness and medical camps for general public on this day. This year, CCRYN, New Delhi, and University of Patanjali, Haridwar are jointly organizing the Naturopathy Day celebrations. This year, CCRYN, New Delhi, and University of Patanjali, Haridwar are jointly organizing the Naturopathy Day celebrations in Haridwar, Uttarakhand between November 18th to 19th, 2020. The theme for this year, Naturopathy Day celebration, is Naturopathy for Holistic Health, where one uses various treatments and therapies under naturopathy for preventing disease and its complications and maintaining health and well-being. Today is also commemorated as Baklava Day in US. Baklava is a sweet pastry, honey and nuts. The Mediterranean confectionery has been enjoyed for centuries through invasions, economic wars, and even world wars. So we're going to plunge into history of this fascinating dessert on November 17th. Baklava, once a dish so special it was considered fit for lunch, is popular around the world today. Many countries, including Lebanon, Armenia, Turkey, and Greece, have their own regional variations. So learn baklava eating etiquette. Think of the baklava experience in much the same way as you are tasting for the first time. First, contemplate the beauty that is baklava on your plate. Then pierce it with your fork, and one third of the piece is behind the fork, and the other two thirds are facing you. This should prevent the piece from breaking in half. Take time to notice the aroma as you lift it. Your baklava filled fork slowly takes a bite and savor the taste as it melts to your plate. Cardinal social sign cutting through the layers of. Today is also commemorated as Children in Need Day. BBC Children in Need appeal happens every year on the third Friday of November. This year it will fall on 17th. So BBC Children in Need appeal happens every year on the third Friday of November. It will fall on 17th BBC Children. Today is also commemorated as Canterbury Anniversary Day in New Zealand. Today is also commemorated as Canterbury Anniversary Day in New Zealand. It takes place on November 17th. The first day was observed on December 16, 1850, to honor the arrival of first four ships from England to coincide with the Christian The day was first observed on December 16, 1850, to honor the arrival of the first of four ships from England. To coincide with the Christchurch show day, the day was shifted to second Friday. After the first Tuesday in November, the Canterbury region established is commemorated on the way, and activities are held all around the region. However, most of the celebrations takes place in Christchurch. So with this, we shall conclude the commemorations for the way. We request everyone to fill the feedback forms, which has been shared in the form of polls, quizzes. The feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. We request everyone to quickly fill up the platform before you leave.